welcome back to our channel. Ruth here, and I am an Australian immigration lawyer based here in Australia. Well, in today's video, I want to make a brief video on the expression of interest process, on how you can actually impress the case officer who is reading your application. Now, in some of my other videos, I've spoken about what an expression of interest is, why this is important, but basically in a nutshell, most people, if you do actually meet the talent visa requirement, you can actually apply for the visa, but the waiting time can take a fairly long time, sometimes up to 18 months to 2 years. But the purpose of the expression of interest is actually to fast track your application, so you may be even actually able to actually get the visa within a couple of months or even less. So today's video is really focused on the expression of interest process, on how to impress your case officer in 4 practical steps. So let's get started. The first one is you need to provide a strong nominator letter. Now, in the past, having a nominator is not really a compulsory requirement. It's not really necessary at the stage of expression of interest. But again, I remember with all of my cases, I get all my clients to produce a letter from the nominator. But right now, the competition is really, really stiff. There's a lot of people now who know about this visa, and so your competition has increased, which means even the more a nominator letter is really, really important. So who is a nominator? Basically, they have to be either an organization or an Australian citizen or permanent resident who is recognized in the same field as you, and they have to have that international recognition and outstanding achievement. It is important to provide information about your nominator in terms of, their qualifications, their credentials. Why are they so amazing? So essentially, yes, they're nominating you, but you also need to help them prove their case that they are the best of the best, so that what they say about you holds, what they say about you gives weight to your application, and it's not just a friend with a letter saying, oh yeah, this person is really good. You need to provide proof that this person is really, really good as well, and very much recognized in their particular field. So that's the first thing. The second thing that we would recommend is actually providing strong references. I had a client, we ran a case for one of our clients, and she asked me, how many references do I need to provide? Do I need to just provide Australian references or overseas references? And I said, you know what? The more, the merrier. Because this particular candidate, she's actually worked not just overseas, but in Australia as well. And it's important to actually show that there is that international experience and background. So in this case, I just said, get all your professors or your senior managers to write references for you, and so that is going to help impress the case officer. Okay. Number 3, ensure that you bring out your best case in a concise way. Now, the expression of interest form is not really long. Now, there are ways for you to actually upload more documents and make the documents compress them, etc. Even though immigration doesn't like you compressing documents, but there are ways there are things that we do to actually provide more information on behalf of our client. But if you look at the actual form itself, the online form, it is not very long. So you need to be able to actually, the moment the case officer opens up your file, you need to be able to capture their attention pretty much immediately and go, why is this person different from everyone else who is applying? Because there are limited spaces when it comes to the GTI visa. You will be competing with all these other applicants around the world. But what makes yours stand out? So you need to ask yourself that. You need to be able to stand out, and I always say, make sure that you're checking your grammar. Make sure that you're using professional language. If English is not your uttermost strength, then consider hiring someone else to help you with that with writing the submission, and make sure they know the law, make sure they're addressing everything. So preferably an immigration lawyer, but so that they'll be able to make that case for you. And the thing is, if you don't meet the expression of interest requirement, then you don't get an invitation, which means you're not going to be able to lodge a fast-track visa. So this step is as important, if not more important, than lodging the visa itself, because if you miss this opportunity, then you miss the boat. Now, I'm not saying that I'm not saying that you can't actually get the visa in the future. If you fail one expression of interest and then you try again. We have had quite a number of clients who've contacted us and said, Ruth, I tried the first time, but I failed. Can you help me out? And I said, well, it's going to be a little bit more difficult now because you've tried it once, and immigration knows that you haven't met those requirements. But we have actually been fairly successful in getting our clients through to the second stage. But this time we're going to do it in a different way. We're going to do it in a professional way, in a concise way, so that immigration knows that this is a legitimate case. Number 4, if you want to impress the case officer, you must ensure that you meet all of the requirements. So meeting all of the requirements is really, really important. If you meet 3 out of 5 or 4 out of 5 of the criteria and checklist, that's not going to work, okay? So you need to meet all of the requirements. And sometimes it might even be a matter of how you actually carve out that argument. Because sometimes you may not meet the exact requirement, but if you can carve your argument so that it so that you can actually show that you actually meet those requirements, if you get what I mean, then you'll be okay. But make sure you meet all the requirements. And I'll give an example. For example, a lot of our clients, they're probably getting paid about $200,000 AUD a year. They're based in the US, the UK, and other countries. But some of our clients don't get paid that much. They might get paid about $50,000 a year or less, and they're from other countries. Because of the exchange rate and currency, it is hard to show that they are being paid $150,000 AUD, because in their country, that's a lot of money. So essentially, our job is to help our client carve out an argument, say, well, whilst our client may not be paid that amount already, if they do come to Australia, that's the amount that they're gonna be able to attract. So that's what I mean by meeting the requirements without having actually to meet it. So it's about how you carve your argument. Sometimes it's not just about what you say, but it's about how you say it. So those are the 4 tips to impress case officer. Make sure your nominator is strong, your references are strong, ensure you bring out the best case possible for yourself in a concise way, and ensure that you meet all the requirements and you address every single requirement in your application. So finally, thank you so much for taking the time to watch our video. Now, please do not treat the contents of this video as legal advice, because we assess each case on a case-by-case basis. If you need specific advice, just drop us an email on the email address below, and it would be our pleasure to assist you. Thank you, and I'll see you next time. Bye.